Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special figure showcase we're going to be looking at the new Netflix War for Cybertron Voyager class Soundwave. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a quick look at the box art. I'm going to take him out of the box, we're going to have a look at the accessories that come with him, and then we'll have a look at him compared to the other generations versions and Generation 1 versions of himself, and we'll put him in both modes and again do a few more comparisons. We're going to have a real in-depth look at him. So here we go then. There's some lovely artwork on the side. If I wanted to be really pedantic, I could say that looks more like Sound Blaster because that looks a lot more dark, like the blacky colour rather than the blue, but that's just me looking. This looks really good. I'm actually really excited to get this. I know I'm a bit late to the party for looking at this, but that's because they've been so hard to get hold of, to be honest. For those of you that are unaware, there is obviously, of course, the famous Siege or Earthrise battle scene, but of course it's in different colours, and that's because, as you can see at the top, it says Netflix original series. So this is the Netflix edition, and that's why it's harder to get hold of. They're more limited edition. Yeah, exactly that. The limited edition, and they're store exclusives. In the UK, they're store exclusives to Smiths. You'll have to forgive me. I think it's Target in America. I could be totally wrong, but anyway, they're a store exclusive. You can't just get these in general retail everywhere. So that means that unfortunately that when they're out, it's really hard to get hold of them again. So the main difference in what they're doing with the Netflix figures is, yes, there's a higher price point, but they add extra things to it. So Soundwave actually comes with 2 of his cassettes, which you can see there. We've got his weapons. There's literally nothing else in the packaging. With the deluxe figures, they come with a piece of Teletran and things like that, but this guy is just himself. So there he is. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take him out of his plastic prison and I'll come straight back to you. Right then, so I've got him out of his box. I've got all the accessories with him to the side, and the cool thing about this guy is straight away just how he looks. He looks brilliant. He looks absolutely fantastic. And like I said with one of the other Netflix figures, like the Bumblebee, who looks brand new, it's a little bit, I wasn't expecting it, obviously, with the Netflix thing. And in fact, obviously, it's the cartoon. A lot of the characters are all, you know, war-torn and battle-damaged. And this guy looks brand new. And just before we have a quick look at him as well, the other good thing about this is, and I just didn't really mention it when I showed you the box, is that, of course, now he's not transforming into a spaceship or anything. He's going back to his original Generation 1 roots, and he's transforming into a tape deck holder. So I can't wait to do that. Let's have a look at him then. So, as you'd expect, we've got movement up and down at the shoulder, and of course the rotation in there. You can say it's sort of a bit of wrist articulation. Obviously that's going to be used mainly for transformation, but you can still use it to pose weapons, etc. Same as movement at the bicep or elbow, depending on which side you're looking at. Full waist, hips, knees, and even, let's have a go, yeah, ankle rotation. So, you know, really incredibly well posable. Yeah. Looking at the top, and this is another little gimmick, and I love this, and I don't know if most people have picked it up or not. I've deliberately stayed away from all the reviews and everything of this. Same with the Hot Rod one I did, because I wanted to get it in hand and have a look at it, you know, unbiased. Yeah, so anyway, there's some red translucent plastic there on the back of his head. So if you're going to display this, guys, you need to have maybe some lighting coming from this way in. And the reason for that is, where are we? Let's get this to work. My torch is dying. See his eyes light up? Brilliant. There we go. So that's a bit like the old Generation 1, Generation 2 figures. There we go. My torch is playing up. You can just see, it's a very simple little thing. It's just a different coloured plastic, obviously, but it just makes it work. Makes his eyes light up when I get it right. There we go. That's something to look out for yourself. It's a little gimmick. It's just something that I like, and I wanted to point out in case anybody else already hasn't. So the things that come with him is we've got his shoulder attachment. There we go. We've got one of his blasters or his guns. This is actually telescopic, so that'll go in and out. This gun comes actually folded up inside the box like so. So he's got quite a bit of arsenal all of a sudden with him. And of course, we've got Laserbeak and Ravage. And again, this is what separates the Netflix versions from the standard. With the Voyager class figures they release, they stick a couple of little Battle Masters with them as well. And I suppose that's what sort of justifies the jump in the price point. What we'll do while we're here, we'll have a look at him compared to the Siege version of him, which is only a couple of years before. And as I say, the Siege one now is the one that looks obviously all battered and war-torn. And you can clearly tell now looking at this that it's not just a straight up redeco. It is of course a retool, mainly due to the transformation process. Obviously we've just said this guy's a tape deck, and again, which of course works brilliantly, dead easy, whereas this guy's alternate mode is of course not a tape deck. And it's really apparent from the back just the huge differences in these. So there is a lot of retooling there. There's a lot of difference. Some of the things are the same, like underneath on the back of the forearms, etc. That's all the same, but it's quite a bit different. And now if we have a quick look now against his Generation 1 self, got to get that glare away, sorry. Again, brilliant, looks really good. Maybe if you want to be super picky, maybe they could have gone for his yellow eyes if he's going to Generation 1 toy, but of course they're probably going for the Generation 1 cartoon, which is why he's got the red eyes and which is why it looks fantastic. Let's see if I can get this torch to work again. No, oh yeah, a little bit, there you go, that's better. That's made up for what I did earlier. So there we go, that's the comparisons between them all. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to transform him off camera. Again, I always explain the reason for doing this is keep the video length down, and so it doesn't spoil it for you guys, because I think a lot of the fun and enjoyment about getting a new transformer is, of course, doing that transformation process for the first time. So I'm going to come right back with you, and he'll be in his tape deck mode. Right then, so I've transformed him into his alternate mode, his tape deck mode, and from the front I think it looks fantastic. I really like it. I like the detail on the button. I like the fact that you've got the record and the battery right in there, and again it looks nice. It does really look nice. I'm probably just being a little bit too picky. This is why I'm not particularly fond of it. You've got all this huge amount of space and stuff at the back. Yes, you can then of course take the weapons. I think the Masterpiece versions were the first ones that did this, to be fair, and attach it all to the back, which in one aspect is good. That means obviously that you aren't going to lose anything, but it doesn't look good unless I've done it totally wrong. I may have done it totally wrong with the instructions that I've followed. It's making it look like that. So as I say, so from the front, I'm happy with that. That looks okay. It looks all right. But from the back, not sold on it, in honesty. Not sold on it at all. But robot mode's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to take anything away from that. I've transformed the cassettes as well, and I just want to point out the little difference with these as well, because these aren't identical. This is the new Ravage, this is the old Ravage. So new one in this hand, old one in this hand. You can clearly see that there's a different head sculpt there, as well as the different coloured eyes. So at least there's a little bit of a difference with that, and they've done the same with Laserbeak as well. So if I can grab these without knocking everything over, here is new Laserbeak and there is old Laserbeak. So a bit more detail obviously on the wings, gone a lot more like the Generation 1 toy, and of course big difference what you can see there. I like this one actually. I do really like this. I think a lot of the tapes, I don't know, maybe I'm just because I'm not stuck in my Generation 1 ways, but I just think a lot of them look better, even though the obviously original Ravage tape's really thin. This just they don't really do it for me, to be fair, but they look good. They look good, and they're a brilliant little bonus to come with this particular figure. So there they are in their alternate modes. The only, as I say, plus I've already mentioned on this is the fact that you can store all of these underneath, so you're not going to lose anything. It looks okay like that, but I think, let's be honest, anybody who's going to be getting this is going to be displaying him in his robot mode, which funnily enough I'm going to put him back in now, and we'll just do a quick recap. Right then, so we're back and we've put him in his robot mode, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that this is the way to display him, definitely in this robot mode. I've attached all his accessories to him, so you've got the larger gun, the smaller telescopic gun, and of course the shoulder cannon on the top there. Yeah, it's way better than that other alternate mode. Even though it's a tape deck and it's all nostalgic, in my opinion, it just doesn't really work for it. This mode's fantastic. And I also just want to clarify as well that in the second part of the video, and I was talking about the light up eyes, and I mentioned in the Generation 1 2 figures, obviously I wasn't referring to Soundwave. There were some figures known as the Turbo Masters and the Predators, and they had the gimmick where you could do this. And now my torch is working, you can see it much better. So there we go. So I obviously wasn't referring to Soundwave, I was referring to some other figures as well. But there he is in robot mode. If you've already got the Siege version, which is there, do you want to spend the money and get the Netflix one? That's obviously total preference. You'll have people like me who are a bit of like collectionists or whatever you want to call us, where because if you've got a few of the Netflix figures, you'll want to get them all, or there's people who just love Soundwave and they get all the figures. But I think that there's definitely enough difference between these two to warrant the picture, so to get them both if you wanted. Mainly for that reason. It's, again, of course, it's entirely up to yourself and where you are with your collection, what you want to do with it. It's totally different. It's totally different. I do really like this robot mode. It is very Generation 1-esque, but I just like it. It looks really good. They've got all the right details on it. Watch this guy fall over now. Let's stand him up. Yeah, so I know it's tough. I know they're doing a lot of the same characters over and over again, and it is a tough decision which ones that you're going to get. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully that's the point of this video. This video has helped you with your decision to do that. Here's the Netflix version of the War for Cybertron Soundwave figure. I hope you enjoyed looking at him. Again, I hope it helped you with your decision whether you want one or not, if there's enough differences. And yeah, of course, please take care. Thanks for watching. Like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe.